what you have to do with only the use of audio. In a lot of ways, it's simpler because you don't have to worry about hiding the cut.
Yeah,
But it's a lot more challenging because you have to build an ambience. And if you can listen to a 12-minute or 15-minute radio story that leaves you in tears or that leaves you questioning a big thing, that's really powerful.
From Toronto, Phanta Media presents the Not So Corporate Podcast.
Hello. How you doing? My name is Mark Drager. I'm the host of the Not So Corporate Podcast. I'm joined here in studio today for another very special roundtable conversation. What are you laughing about, Kyle?
Everything.
Was that an aggressive opening?
Yes.
I'm joined with Kyle Wilson.
Hey.
I said Wilson.
Wilson.
Kyle Wilson. And Louis Vizenios.
Ça va bien, les gens?
Whatever that means. And Manish Malhotra, welcome back yet again. Manny, how's it going?
Going pretty good.
You got to talk into the mic, buddy.
Going really good.
He hasn't quite figured out this whole podcasting thing yet.
Yeah, that's why I came up with this topic.
That's why you came up with this topic. Very cool. Hey, Roland's calling. Let's answer the phone.
Oh, our first caller.
Hey, Roland, we're doing the podcast. You're on the air.
Hello.
Was it like a Mexican mariachi band?
What? Hey, Roland, how's it going, buddy?
It's online, buddy. Online.
What does that mean?
They just canceled my lunch, so I guess I'm gonna have to go home now.
I know what that
Inside joke.
Dude.
So Roland, you're out picking up a production vehicle for rent. How's that? Is that a lot of fun?
I found one. Yes, I found one.
Okay.
Good. What can we
Like
do?
you're just walking the streets.
This van had no lock on it, so
You're live on the air.
Are you in a hurricane?
What can we do for you, buddy? Do you have a question for us? Roland, you're live on the air. What are you calling for?
I was calling for the real question, but you guys are having too much fun, so I'm gonna have to figure it out on my own.
Okay. Listen, buddy.
just do it.
Listen, buddy. Remember, the hard part is done.
By the way, I need some cash tomorrow, so just give me some cash.
Also, can I get some money?
Yes, sir. I will have you your money.
Cash.
Yes, I'll have you your cash.
All right, cool.
Okay, talk to you later.
All
Not
right.
a cashier's check.
Fun times. Roland out there making stuff happen. Anyway, so Manny, other than Roland calling in, what are we talking about today?
Today we'll be talking about the very meta topic of podcasting.
The meta topic of podcasting?
Well, this is a podcast about podcasting, so it already has
Very
two
meta.
layers.
Very cool. And why did we want to talk about that?
I think a lot of people have questions about how to get a podcast started, what makes a podcast good, how to gain an audience, how to
And why would
monetize
we
it.
be positioned to be able to even talk about that?
For-
have you listened to this podcast recently?
Well, for one, we've been doing it for a while, so we have some experience. And more than that, we all listen to a lot of podcasts over here at Phanta Media. So I figured we'd be able to give some insight to at least beginners who want to get into the world of podcasting. And also, it's like we can just discuss our own experiences about podcasting.
Don't try and sound so excited about it. Okay. So as they say out west, giddy up.
I don't know if they say.
Is that what they say? Also, may I point out, I've just noticed something. You're drinking a Pepsi.
I know. After I made this big declaration that I wouldn't drink it, it was the only thing available. Diet Pepsi.
There was nothing else in the
Okay.
cooler.
I
Just
hate
that.
one Diet Pepsi.
Gosh, I hate Diet Pepsi. You know what? Even the smiling face on it doesn't make me want to like Diet Pepsi anymore.
Well, I wouldn't like it anymore.
They should
either,
go back
but-
to the old logo. I don't like that.
So I
one.
went there. So So I'm trying to eat healthy again, and they
Good.
didn't have anything. I've had so much water to drink today. They didn't have any other diet soda or pop
Right,
or anything.
right.
So like I looked, if they had Diet Dr Pepper, I would have done that. They didn't.
Sure.
They didn't have anything but this, and I've had so much water and coffee today.
You needed to break it up.
I needed to break it up. So
right.
unfortunately, it was a Pepsi.
Because you did say that you don't drink it, right?
Yes.
Sorry, in the interest of, we just had to talk about being like more linear in our format, and I've now thrown a wrench into that.
We did have a bit of a grown up big boy conversation about the fact that we need to get better at podcasting. So I can't wait to learn from Manny about podcasting. So as they say out west, giddy up.
I can't really contribute much to this conversation only because I only listen to one podcast, The Talk Show with John Gruber. It's basically just about...
Okay, yeah.
You know what? Yeah, it's just about Apple and all things related to Apple. But the only reason I listen to it is because he's an interesting character.
I like John Gruber. Yeah.
I think that's what's key, though. I think any podcast you listen to, it has to do with, like an interesting perspective, interesting voice. But you sent me the TGIM. Right?
I know, and I fell off it because it's just like...
It's just too aggressive.
It's like you were saying, like you need to be excited about you need to want to listen to it. And I like listened to the first few, and I was like, I don't know if I want to listen to this anymore. It doesn't keep you. I don't know.
That's funny.
What was it about it that didn't do it for you?
I don't know, because sometimes you just don't want to learn in that format. Like they kind of present content, but
so we're talking about Shopify's
you.
podcast called TGIM. Thank goodness it's Monday, I suppose.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it's the podcast for entrepreneurs, mainly small business, like very small business focused.
Yeah.
Like, yay, your business is a huge success because you got 10 customers. Way to go! Like very small business.
Right.
Yeah, because they're targeting people who might want to use Shopify.
Yeah.
And have an online store.
Yeah.
For their business.
I listen to it when there's nothing else to listen to. What are we all listening to? Not in terms of maybe specific podcasts. We can rhyme them off. Mm-hmm. That's easy. But more in terms of topic and why. Like why do you guys listen to podcasts and what are you listening to?
Myself, I usually like to listen to a lot of comedians. I mean, comedian podcasts and interview podcasts. Just people I like to learn about their career paths, whether it's in the film industry or it's in any kind of entertainment industry. That's most of the podcasts I listen to, I guess. Yeah, like Marin and Corolla and those kind of podcasts are like my favorite. Joe Rogan is...
I don't know how you work. Like you listen to... Like I'll come in early in the morning, you got podcasts going. I don't know how you work and listen to podcasts.
Well, the thing, I don't need my ears to do animation.
No.
I just... When I'm editing, I cannot listen to podcasts because you need to be able to edit to whatever you're listening to. But when you're doing just keyframing, you just need to use your eyes. So... It actually it actually zones me in. It actually makes me like not distracted by everything else going around me, rolling and stuff like that.
Interesting.
but constant dialogue.
Yeah,
it just dials you in then.
Yeah, it does. It just makes me zoned in.
I don't know if you could bucket them, but you got your like roundtable chit chat things.
Yeah.
You have your like NPR style storytelling, reporter type things.
Right, more interview based.
And then is there a third?
I think there's like a solo
your call-in Q&A style.
There's solo, where they're kind of riffing on a topic.
Yeah, just one person, Bill Burr, talks about something for an hour. Then there's the interview style, which is like the Nerdist, and where they don't really talk.
Tim Ferriss,
those ones where it's just... Let's just talk to this person. Like Joe Rogan is very good at the interview style because he plays devil's advocate with everyone he interviews, even if it's like a scientist or... just a comedian.
Even if he's not qualified?
Even if he's not qualified. But no, he is. He's very smart.
He has strong opinions,
Hey.
Okay.
Podcasting is the land of the unqualified.
All right.
You're listening to this right now, right? So what do you listen to, Louis?
Well, I guess I suppose I'm more of a old man when it comes to the podcasting.
Meaning you don't do it?
No, meaning I do it, but it's pretty much all from just edification, learning something, learning about someone, learning about and a subtext to that would be learning about their life, their challenges. I like inspirational stories. I like the underdog. Hey, this is what happened in my life, and look where I am now. I like that, and I also like Radiolab is a very good podcast that I'll listen to. Yeah, so stuff like that. It's just knowledge for me.
Doesn't that get tiring? I listen to podcasts for a few different reasons too, but doesn't it aren't there times where you're just like, I don't want to commit any mental energy to learning new stuff?
Yeah, which is why I don't. I mean, I find that podcasts they're fantastic for being kind of a passive.
Yeah, that's the key word.
Activity that you can engage with at arm's length, and you don't have to get too involved in it. It's something that you could do while you're doing something else, right? So
Yeah, like gym. I go to the gym.
Right.
You go to the gym?
Yeah, I go to the gym like 4 days a week.
As long as you don't want music.
gym.
It might not look like it, but yeah, I do. And I feel like in that learning, that portion where
No. You're a very svelte man. You look good, Manny. You look good. I was looking at some pictures from a few years ago. You're very trim.
Well, I came from 245 to I'm 192 right now.
Listen
That's
to this
pretty
guy.
good.
That is
That's
huge.
Yeah.
That's the gym.
That is gym.
That's gym and for our
gym.
body.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, another Tim Ferriss play.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Podcast plus gym equals
But-
greatness.
Like, but getting back to podcasting, like back in school, I was never really interested in science or history or any of those topics. Like they were really boring to me. But then if you listen to a podcast like Dan Carlin's Hardcore History, where he researches for months and months and gives you these like in-depth accounts, like almost like stories. He's telling you stories about like the Mughal Empire and the the Persian Empire, or even like the wars, the World War I, II, and all these, like he makes it sound so interesting that now I'm like, I wish I'd paid attention in school, or maybe it just wasn't this interesting when I was learning about Hitler back then. But now it just seems like I'm like, everyone should be listening to this, because it's like these are real characters that have lived through our times, and they're just like so mesmerizing. Everybody he talks about, just where we've gone from 100 years ago to now, like that, and then as well as like scientific stuff. And I was just listening to something where, what was the guy's name?
I don't know. You were the one listening.
Sam Harris was talking about with Joe Rogan about like future of AI and just the scientific,
cool.
Artificial meat.
Yeah, and like so
can't wait.
just those kind of things are things you don't hear about in the news. You'll never hear about that in like, unless you're looking for that kind of information, you're never going to hear about it. But these guys talk about it like in a very funny and conversational way. It just makes it for really interesting fodder, I guess.
So Joe Rogan does like out there thinking.
Oh, he's
topics?
like way out there.
There's maybe a handful of podcasts I listen to week, but there are certain ones that I'll just blast through and love. But I could not really, I couldn't get into Joe Rogan. Like Marin I got into for like a year and a half. Nerdist I got into a few years ago too, and then got out of. It's just like you kind of burn through them. You kind of like them. You kind of become friends with the characters, and you're like, oh, they're cool. That's so like that guy. And then eventually you're like, man, they're annoying.
Well, like I'll skip
That's what
through
happens
the
for
first
me.
10 minutes of like Marin's podcast.
Why?
Like,
That's like the best part.
That is the
Present
best.
I don't listen to that. But if it's a really good guest that he has on,
Then it's good.
like he just had Neil Young on, and I was like, okay, I gotta listen to this.
Gotta say, over the last year and a half, maybe 2 years, I've gotten really into the NPR style of podcasts.
Yeah, it's fantastic. I like it.
Planet Money is just an interesting thing about economics, but also all of the stuff from PRX and Radiotopia. So that would be like 99% Invisible.
Oh yeah.
The Illusionist, which is all about I can't remember the word now, but the history of words, like the root Latin
really
where words
interesting.
come from, and they're all like 18 minutes long or 15 minutes long. And then Mortified was the one I told you about, where people stand up on stage and read as adults excerpts from their teenage diaries, unedited, and they do it in front of a crowd of people drinking.
That's amazing.
It is hilarious. So like, there's
So you like the shorter form.
You know what it is? I do like the shorter things where you can listen to a few of them. There's this great podcast called How Sound, which is by Rob Rosenthal. He does a podcast where he deconstructs story-driven podcasts and talks about key things about, third person versus first person, the use of ambient sound.
So that's really meta.
It's like a master workshop on radio storytelling.
Right.
Now, I got really into that because when it comes to our video storytelling, what you have to do with only the use of audio, I think is even in a lot of ways it's simpler because you don't have to worry about hiding the cut.
Yeah,
but it's a lot more challenging because you have to build an ambience, and if you can listen to a 12-minute or 15-minute radio story that leaves you in tears, or that leaves you questioning a big thing, that's really powerful. And so what's interesting about How Sound is he tries to break down and teach you how to do that.
That's really cool. There's a really good campaign that the government of Ontario is running right now on the radio about texting while driving. I don't know if you guys have heard any of these.
No, I haven't heard it.
No.
They're very effective. It's basically like it's kind of like
yes, I
it's kind
know.
of like I should text my boyfriend, but I can't feel like where's my phone and then where's my legs and then like it kind of deconstructs this whole.
Where's my legs?
Well, it's like because
that
she's
one.
like in
Okay,
a
never mind.
wheelchair and it's
That's good.
and I think that like you're right. Audio can be it could spur your imagination and it can make you feel just as much if not more.
Yeah, I think more because like they say, like when you read a book, your imagination is doing most of the work.
Right.
So if you like now add just audio to that, then and when you're watching a movie, you're using every sense
Yeah.
of yours, like your eyes, your ears. It does let you create a visual imagery in your head.
Yeah, I mean, there are episodes, I don't know why I can't recall them right now, but there are episodes of podcasts that are so striking. You know, they literally, I'm like, I'll be driving along crying or something because it's just like, it can be a powerful medium.
Yeah.
Because, so, and this is the challenge that I would say to all of us. It's
Right.
like, how do you approach video as an audio journalist? And if you're an audio person, how and you were to move to video, how would you leverage video differently? Like how would you construct storytelling in
Right.
such a rich way that you're not using it as like a crutch, but you're using it to supplement, right? Like so, if we approached a project thinking it was audio only,
Right.
and then did all the Roland's talked about this, right? Like great DOPs will choose what tools to use and not use, so that way it forces them to be more creative later.
Right.
Right.
Let's approach a project, let's say as an audio exercise, where the video is something that we can only leverage to enable or raise the bar. You know,
Right.
like how interesting would it be to approach it that way? And I'm not saying that we do.
I think super
I'm not saying we
interesting.
do, but
Yeah.
imagine what an exercise that would be.
Yeah, yeah. It
That's
would be
really
good.
interesting.
I think we should do it. That's the next pitch.
No, but
That would be like a photojournalist thing. You kind of have like your scenes or atmospheres that go along with the audio.
any way you slice it, it's good storytelling, right?
That's what's key.
Yeah.
That's what's key, right? You know, like it's compelling characters,
Right.
facing challenges, a positive or negative outcome, taking people on a journey, having
Right.
perspective,
Right.
having something to say. All of that stuff is key, right?
Yeah.
You know, one of my favorite commercials, I would say even my favorite commercial is still, it's like 2 or 3 years old, Dodge Super Bowl commercial, no music, just this 40-year-old audio of Stephen Harvey Franklin, I think,
Okay.
preaching this poem, So God Made a Farmer. And then it's just photography with a little bit of parallax, but mostly just photography
Right.
as a visual element of what the farmer does.
Right.
And it's so simple. You know, it's not in previous years Dodge trying to do, you know, Eminem and Detroit is cool. No, it's just beautiful and simple. So Kyle, why don't you listen? Yeah, I mean, we started off the conversation that way, but why I mean, what do you do when you're in your car driving? I mean, you
No,
have,
I listened to that.
you have
that-
traffic.
Yeah.
You listen to that one thing.
That one, because it's like 2 hours usually. And
and it comes out a few times a week,
every 2 weeks, I think. Split it up, morning and then evening, and then,
but it comes out every 2 weeks.
yeah, and then I'll just listen to the radio. Because, like, for some reason or another, you don't connect with them. But with Marin, I was like, this guy's too depressing. I can't listen
Yeah,
to this
yeah, he
anymore.
is. The only people who
Yeah,
connect with
yeah.
him, like when I was really depressed in life, I would listen to Marin. a lot.
yeah,
Now
like-
I'm like, I can't listen to it anymore.
No.
None of you guys have kids, right? So
No.
you may not connect with this, but the most interesting and impactful podcast I've ever listened to is a podcast called How to Be a Girl. So a woman was like a radio journalist, went off and had kids, stopped working. She started documenting her son's life. When at the age of 3, he wanted to start wearing dresses and being a girl.
Oh,
and
wow.
then she spent a year trying to divert his attention. And
Yeah.
finally, at the age of 4, she agreed to let him live as a girl.
Okay.
And then it follows, they've done 2 seasons now, I think, but it follows about a 3-year window. Child's 7 or 8 now, as they've lived with helping their son transition,
Right.
and what society thinks of it, and the pains and the struggles. And it is the most stunning thing, like just stunning in terms of, it leaves you speechless. It's
Yeah.
just so raw and so emotional, and but it's more scripted storytelling based
Yeah.
type thing. But it's a crazy
Yeah.
story that she's opening up and sharing, and she does it all with fake names for their safety and
Okay.
protection and whatnot. But
But it doesn't make it any less empathic.
no,
the fact that it's narrative.
It's there's certain things where I come home. My wife doesn't listen to podcasts. There's certain things where I come home and like before bed, I'm like, you have to listen to this, and I sit her down and I'm like, listen to this because I know you never will if I send it to you. But that's more on the story side. And you know, as you're saying, good stories are good stories.
Yeah.
You know, if you wanted to get into podcasting, is that something you wanted to talk about today?
Yeah, I mean, if you're a brand or if you're a company, how do you leverage a podcast to help your marketing? Or even just like, I have a friend who's a graphic designer and he has a podcast and he just talks about graphic design stuff. So how do you get that started? Obviously, there's no like direct way of monetizing your podcast like YouTube. Like there's no AdSense that exists in the podcasting world. So you basically like right now you're just giving out free information unless you're like part of some kind of a bigger network where you can get advertising or like stamps.com or whatever. I don't know if that really works.
Go ahead to stamps.com and click on the microphone button at the top of the page and type in Marin for your free.
That's right.
Or we could probably go through all of them. Let's go through Casper,
I don't even
stamps.com,
Lisa?
Warby Parker,
Sherry's Berries,
Squarespace,
huge one. Yeah,
there's basically big businesses that have been launched.
They're seriously like the idea of marketing
Casper's
through podcasts.
Yeah.
You know, it's been huge, right?
Yeah, the Man Grate. I remember that like became huge a few years ago on the podcasting world.
What's
The
that
what?
shaving
The Man
one?
Grate is like
Harry's.
Yeah.
It's German factory, so that way they can control the.
It's just direct to you. Cut out the
Those
middleman.
German
That's
blades.
right.
yeah.
And if you're tired of going to your local pharmacy and
Just
having to have people unlock
subscribe.
the cabinets, you just go
Yeah.
ahead. They'll get you started
Yeah.
on your very own shaver kit. And for Father's Day, you can get a monogram shaving handle.
I know. They told me like 50 times.
yeah.
Squarespace, make it beautiful.
Enter promo code.
Let's break it down. So why do people get into podcasting? I mean, obviously, if you're personal, you have a perspective, you have a story, you have an interest in it, you love it, you're willing to commit to it and do it. You probably have hopes of becoming a big star, or But if you're a business, it just falls onto content marketing strategies, right? You know, you have to. I hate the idea of being seen, right? Like you have to be seen, being a thought leader, a knowledge leader. I mean, that's kind of selfish, but I mean, I think that's why people do it, right?
Yeah, I guess. I mean, but does it work? Like, is it something that because starting a podcast is like as easy as getting $100 USB microphone and just talking into it?
It's not, and only people who have not started a podcast think that's that easy.
Why?
So,
What's so complicated about just talking into a mic and recording yourself?
That's not the problem.
Okay.
Are we talking about making a good podcast?
Distribution. Distribution is.
Let's talk about distribution because that's actually the hardest part.
Yes, that's the hardest part. Is getting yourself listed and going through all the process and everything else. It's it's not like once. If you asked me to do it again, I would probably be like, gosh, I got to relearn it because it's been so long. But
getting on iTunes is easy, isn't it?
You have to submit your RSS feed and you have to submit your artwork and all of that stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean it's not hard, but it's harder than just being like, well,
put a video on YouTube or something.
Because to be honest, I had someone who asked me about a podcast. I was like, you don't need to rent studio time. If you got an iPhone, if you have like an iPhone 6, just put it in front of you and record. It will be fine, right? It's just what people don't think about is the producing side of things. Like technically, you need a microphone. That's it, right? But the producing side will there was this great Onion article headline, right? They're great with their article headlines. And it was like something like there are currently 1.4 million podcasters in America searching for guests. Like everybody can start a podcast, but just the editorial side of things, getting guests on.
That's really hard.
Having unique content to talk about.
Very difficult.
Having the right balance. We've talked about this, right?
Yeah,
having the right balance of personalities. Ensuring the host, being me, doesn't talk too much all the time and annoy everyone.
Well, yeah. So, I mean, and also growing your audience because I just read an article yesterday about how the podcasting audience is not growing. Like it's just stagnant at a certain number, and it's actually like
per show or like just total?
No,
overall.
Overall penetration's been hit.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Because it's just not accessible. Like there are people who have access to iTunes and whatever.
Yeah.
And those are the people who are subscribed to a podcast. But the regular Joe who's just listening to radio and just listening to his CDs or MP3s or whatever.
Right.
Like, how does he get access in his car?
So if you look,
Oh yeah, that's
if you look at the
barrier
growth,
to entry.
if you look at the growth window, right? If you were listening to podcasts 4 or 5 years ago, you're an early adopter.
Yeah.
Right. But
yeah.
Right.
but I would say around the iPhone 4, 5. That was when, went out to the masses. I mean,
yeah.
ultimately, if you aren't listening to podcasts now, you're probably not going to be listening to podcasts in 5 years because it requires like a lifestyle, right? Like you have to be listening when you work out,
Right.
Yep.
cleaning your house,
Yeah.
going for a walk, sitting in public transit, sitting in a car.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's it. Like, when was the last time you went home to
But
listen?
even in your car, like it takes effort. Like you have to
No, it
instead of just
doesn't.
turning on the radio, you have to be like, I'm going to download my podcast.
No,
No, you just stream
you
it
just
now.
stream it.
Oh, I
So
don't do
I
that.
have
I don't
iPhone 6S. I go to my podcasts, and there's my unplayed, and there's my list.
No, I don't.
And
do
then
that.
it just goes from one to the next.
Yeah, but like you knew about it getting into it. Like you already have your favorites like bookmarked and stuff like that. So when
Oh,
a
yeah,
new
yeah. I've
a
already
new episode
subscribed.
comes out, you're
I've
like
already subscribed.
automatically, yeah.
Yeah.
But so that's interesting though that like if we've hit
Shoot.
for the most part market penetration on the podcasting side, then everybody is just vying for listeners. Right?
How do
so
they
you're just
know
trying
that?
to eke out market share.
Because
know.
technically,
I
there's
think
like a billion iPhones. So
I
that's
think-
like a billion people.
Yeah, no. Technically, you.
The question is everybody everybody listening to podcasts already been introduced to it and had the opportunity to access it and chosen not to? It's funny. Like you guys know, like Ben Folds is one of my favorite artists.
Right.
And when iTunes was first released in, I'm going to say 03, 04, he was the number one selling artist on iTunes. Because as soon as it came out, he went, I own my own studio in Nashville. I'm not on a record label. I could literally make music and put it out tomorrow. And I don't need anything.
Right.
And so he just started putting out EPs, like 5-song EPs and whatnot.
Right.
And he became like the number one artist there.
Wow.
He's not,
got a whole
he's
back.
not, I mean, for a long time now,
Not
he has
anymore.
not been the number one artist.
Right.
The same thing's true probably for podcasting, right? Like if you were there early, it's like you staked out your territory.
Right.
And then through 10, 11, 12, 13, probably there's more mass appeal. Like I know
Matured.
that one of my favorite podcasts was hovering around 90 to 100,000 listeners.
Right.
And over the last 2 years, the average 500,000,
Yeah.
500,000 listeners is a pretty good sized market for on the podcast side.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, I just think that like in terms of like kind of your broad appeal, I don't know if that's there anymore. I think you're right. It's like if you want to listen to it, you can listen to it. It's there, but it is conducive to your lifestyle.
I think it just takes those one-offs which really become like they transcend like the podcasting world, like a podcast like Serial. Like when
That
I,
brings people
I was
in.
hoping
That was
I was
huge,
hoping
yeah.
That
we would
brings
get
in
through this
regular
whole
people.
podcast without having to mention Serial.
well, okay, we don't have to like
That's
talk
how
about
people
it.
get into it.
But yeah, like that podcast is probably responsible for a lot of new listeners in
Yeah.
the podcast world, just because it became like, it became so huge that people were like, oh, I didn't even know such a thing existed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I got into podcasting because I was listening to the Ricky Gervais show, and he started podcasting. He was like one of the original podcasters, and he doesn't even podcast anymore. But that's what got me into podcasting. And then all of a sudden, I'm like, oh, what else can I listen to? Then people started coming up with podcasts.
So let's circle around on your question. So, I mean, ultimately, if you want a podcast, you need a way to record it.
Yeah.
You need a perspective, a point of view, something, we've wanted to podcast about video for a long time, but I kept saying to myself and to others, it's like, who wants to work all day and then get in their car and drive home listening about something that's directly related to what they did all day?
I do. Like, I listen to video.
Really?
Yeah, I love
like here's the thing, like if you're a painter
Yeah.
and you paint all day, the last thing you want to do on home or go home on the weekends or whatnot is either one, learn about painting or
That's
paint
right.
your house for your wife or something.
for sure.
Right?
See,
You're like,
I
"Oh,
would
just did
disagree
that
with
all
you
week."
there. I would disagree with you there
Yeah?
because I think what it offers you is a chance to connect with the idea that people are in the same boat as you, that people are going through the same struggle or going through the same successes.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's a way to relate to the
there's-
industry.
I
at
mean,
large.
we're doing it.
Yeah.
We're doing it, but we're doing it focused more on the topics that we wanted to focus on.
But that's really important, right? Niching is like a huge part of building out your podcast and finding your community.
So, recording source, edit it down, make sure that it's tight.
Right.
You have to develop a unique name, and naming convention is in itself kind of an art form.
Right.
You need to really focus on your artwork. So what is your thumbnail, and what is
Very
going to
important.
stand
Very
out?
important.
What is
Yeah.
going to stand out and be different?
Yeah.
Right.
And then you go to a server company. Libsyn is who we
Yeah.
use, but you go to a server company, you rent some server space because you have to have a specific type of server.
Right.
We have server space for all of our business, but we need it for podcasting. You need a
Streaming.
specific type of streaming server with a very
Right.
specific, like go look at iTunes, but they require
Yeah.
to be able to go to a mobile device.
Right.
So even other streaming services we found that said, "Oh, you can stream your podcast here," it did not have
Right.
what iTunes needs.
Right.
So you do your research there. You go to Libsyn, you submit it, you set up your server there, and basically all iTunes is it pulls from an RSS feed.
Mm-hmm.
So you go to your streaming server. We use Libsyn, very cheap, very affordable, very reliable. And when you set up your account there, they give you an RSS feed generator, or maybe you use a third-party generator. Anyway, you generate an RSS feed
Right.
code. You then go to iTunes, and through your account, through your personal account, you submit the request for podcast. So you submit your artwork, your write-up, your bio, and I think the RSS feed, which
So you can
has
see it.
its first episode.
Right.
And they say it takes 2 or 3 days. We got notification within like 4 hours.
Yeah, that's what they say.
That it was updated, and then there you go.
Yeah.
You got yourself a podcast. Now we choose to go through YouTube. We get a lot.
That's actually a great thing to do.
We get a ton. We
Yeah.
get, I'd say, half. Half of our engagement.
Yeah.
Not necessarily hit count, but half of our engagement comes
Yeah.
from YouTube.
Really?
We go
YouTube?
through.
And that
There's
and,
people
and,
who just listened on to
Yeah.
everything on YouTube.
Yeah, yeah.
and that counts as a download, correct? When you stream it
it's
through that?
Totally different.
According
Is
to the
it?
Guinness,
You can't even
according to the
combine those
Guinness
metrics, can
record
you?
for podcast, YouTube counts as the.
That's what I. That's
So
what
if
I
you wanna
thought.
lump
No,
that data
that's all
in.
fine. That's all fine. I'm just saying, Libsyn is a server that we only use to get to iTunes.
right.
Yeah.
Independent
Right.
of that, we upload it to YouTube.
Right.
Independent of that, we
Yeah.
upload it to
Okay.
SoundCloud.
Yeah.
And those are the three main communities that we really feel like I would, we also release teasers. I mean, the audience building in itself is its own,
Yeah.
it's its own thing. Like running a podcast is a full-time job for many people.
Absolutely.
They have teams of people
Oh, for sure.
just to be able to manage the stuff. It's recording it is easy. Figuring out how to upload it is work.
Right.
The magic is in being able to build an audience.
Build an audience.
That's like sprinkling magical fairy dust on it, though, because that's like trying to make a viral video,
Yeah.
Right.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You don't like
Yeah.
trying to, like go ahead and make a viral video. It's like, well,
Right.
coming up with the ideas is easy.
Is there
Right.
Producing it is the work, but making it actually go viral, if you want to force it to go viral,
Right.
is like strategic spend, campaign management,
exactly.
distribution strategies, a
Yeah.
PR strategy. Like
Yeah.
you can force something to go viral.
Well,
Right.
isn't there like charts for podcasts where you could kind of like target your spend? Like, hey, I want an ad here, or
Maybe.
I don't know.
We're not savvy like that.
Yeah.
We
All right.
basically
I don't
felt
know.
like, if you build it, they will come, which
Yeah.
is the stupidest thing you can do.
It is
But-
with podcasts. Yeah.
But because but then also why do you do it? Like we do it because we want to. We do it because I want to. Because
Right.
I like podcasting, and I forced you guys all to be here, and we try to do it for the audience, but you're not going to make money doing this.
no.
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 like-
No, but you can
No.
use it as kind of a loss leader to provide information about a product, about a service.
Yeah, no one wants to listen to that though,
No?
right? It's like
no, you gotta provide something that's valuable.
Gary V, right?
Sure.
Gary Vaynerchuk.
Right.
You on social
Vayner? Vanner?
Vaynerchuk, whatever. It's
Vander Media.
VA1. It's Vanner. Media.
Vanner.
There's no D. It's
Oh.
not Vanderchuk.
Oh, it's not Vander.
Vander
No.
Media.
No,
Vaynerchuk.
Vaynerchuk.
Okay.
Gary V
Okay.
says you either got to entertain or inform.
He does
Right?
say that.
Nowhere does it say you got to sell.
No.
But people
Right.
people are making money on podcasting. Like the
But you
the
could
few,
sell by
there's
that by
a few.
employing that method.
Yeah, listen. You can be the Dan Savage of the world
Right.
who chooses to go with both a public with advertising and then a private closed network.
Right.
You can do that, but all of those guys built it before they made money on it.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Yeah,
And they probably had
absolutely,
audiences
absolutely.
before they got into podcasting.
But that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying
Yeah.
from a content point of view, you can't sell.
Yeah. No, you can't.
We're not doing this to sell our services.
No, not
No.
at all.
We got, we had one comment on Facebook when we did in-house versus outsourcing. And the guy was like, I'm halfway through your podcast and I totally disagree with everything you have to say.
Good.
You know, you're only, and I was like, well, you didn't listen to the whole thing. We come around. And he's like, you know, you're only doing this obviously to advertise for yourself. I understand that, but I disagree. And I was like, we don't do this to advertise.
No.
And he's like, come on, of course you do. And I'm like, how is us helping our competition or helping the community or wanting to give back or even learn off other people? How is that us advertising for like our clients? Our clients don't listen to this.
No.
Our prospects, no one is calling me up going, hey, I heard the podcast, Mark.
No.
You know, like,
If anything, it's the guest getting a shout out.
I say things on this show that I'm never worried anyone will hear.
The thought crossed my mind last week about a client where I was like, I wonder if this client, like the client started acting different around. I'm like,
Uh-oh.
I wonder if they started listening to this podcast, right? Because like here we're real.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm hopefully this real in front of clients too, but I think I'm a little bit, as Leah would say, I sugarcoat things a little bit more.
We did mention that we get bored of podcasts and then we tune out. After, how do we keep doing this podcast where our listeners do not get bored and you know, I'm always excited by what's coming up because there are podcasts which I'm excited every week. I'm like a Pete Bones podcast.
There's
I'm
one
like,
that I've listened to for like 10 years.
I think you should give away free stuff. You should say, if you listen for the magic word somewhere in the podcast, you call in and you get, you know, a free drone or something. And then they'll listen to the whole thing.
Wow.
that would be.
Okay. You can go ahead and tweet us at Phanta Media, #freedrone to
When you find out.
Wait,
to let
I
us
gotta get my
know.
phone.
Or
No,
tell
no.
us the magic word, tweet us, and then we'll pick from a hat.
Well, we could.
No. We didn't say we are going to give away a free drone. All I said is tweet us at Phanta Media, #freedrone. And all you're going to do is just tell us if you made it to this part of the podcast.
Yes.
I like it.
We did that once where I was like, remember that joke? Like, hey, let us know if you made it to minute 8.
Oh, yeah.
I got some
right.
feedback. People
Did
were like,
you?
we made it to minute 8.
That's
All right.
funny.
We should just make this show like the game show thing that we do. Right?
The pre-roll challenge.
Just turn it into that.
Right. That was supposed to go out today. Man, that was a great, let me say, if you
Pre-roll
guys,
challenge?
No, not the pre-roll challenge.
Are we
was
gonna
great last
advertise
week,
now?
But no, what I want to say is if our listeners aren't aware that Kyle does a series called Let's Learn Premiere Pro.
It's very slow burn.
It's slow burn.
You got to get into it.
But you're on episode 11.
Yeah.
Are you? How are you on episode 11? 'Cause
Oh, yeah.
You've only uploaded like 6, I think.
I gave all of them to Leah.
And did you delete one of the early ones?
Not off of your feed, no. I don't think I've ever deleted one.
Okay.
No.
Cool. But
I was
noticed that
confused
you
myself how
You
I got to
uploaded one a
11.
few days ago, by the way, to your own channel. But it was one that you gave to us a long time ago.
Exactly, yeah.
So why are you double uploading content, man?
Because I want to make sure it's up there.
It's up under Phanta Media.
All right.
All right.
People ask me questions on my
Twitter?
channel.
Oh, do they?
And then I'm like constantly going between the Phanta one and then mine, and I'm trying to keep up with them.
Oh.
So I just
I think
keep
that's what
going.
it is. That's what it is. It's value. It's value. There's value to listen to this show. No?
No, I just don't know where that
Right?
came from. Yeah. Because Kyle was talking about YouTube.
No, but he's talking about
It's okay.
he's talking about like people engaging with them.
People helping people.
Yeah.
Questions
Isn't that what
and-
it's
There's a
all
guy
about?
in my class
Answers.
who's just like that. He always says something like totally not related to the conversation.
Is that what I did? I thought it was.
Well,
related.
no, it was more related than this guy, but that made me think of him.
Let's talk about him for a bit.
Let's talk about stats. Should we obsess over the stats? Like, should podcasters actually like
These
care,
podcasts
or
are
is it that,
different.
or is it one of those things where, oh, I got a new listener today. I got a,
Well, how do they-
got a
Yes.
like or a 5-star rating or a 1-star?
Is there like a Nielsen rating, or like
No.
who quantifies these audiences?
Well, there's a
Or who measures them?
Libsyn has gives you stats.
Libsyn gives you stats.
Okay.
So you get server hits, but it doesn't tell you, retention rate or anything like that.
Okay.
YouTube, if you're going through YouTube, obviously gives you
Yeah.
more details.
Okay.
How
does like iTunes rank them, or does it?
It does,
even?
yeah.
It
Yeah,
does.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Based
Yeah.
on comments and rating, so you can go on.
Oh,
Like I went on our podcast
it should be
and
up there.
rated
5
it
star.
5 stars.
we
Which
did that nice
everyone
little,
should.
remember that giveaway we did where if
Yeah,
listeners went
yeah.
and left us a comment or a rating that we would spend some time with them one-on-one. That was fun.
I offered a coffee too, didn't I? No one even took me up on that.
No.
Yeah. So
Rude.
I don't know how to answer that, right? Like, if you're selling advertising space, stats are key.
Right.
If you're constantly A/B testing or split testing or changing things up, stats are key.
Right.
If you're kind of keep on keeping on, if you're doing it because you want to do it and just want to hang out and have fun, then whatever, stats don't tell you
Yeah, they
anything.
don't matter.
Express it in percentages, and then it'll sound better. You could be like 200% year-over-year
100%
growth
increase.
from
Like
1 to 2 people.
1 to 2 people. Yeah.
That would be 100% growth.
I'm sorry, 100%.
Yes, 200% growth would be from 1 to 3 people.
Oh
people.
man,
Oh,
Right?
jeez.
NBA got that
All
wrong.
this
I'm not
NBA
good with that stuff yet.
Yeah, fill us in. How's the NBA thing going? How did
What's going on?
how did your test go the other day?
Oh, it was fine.
Did you get your results back?
No, they kind of it's a very smart scheme they have going where you have to stay for 4 semesters before you get any marks,
What?
What?
like
What are you talking
final
about?
grades.
What
so
is
they
that?
keep you for a year.
Before they can tell you if you're failing.
Yeah,
Oh,
basically.
man.
So is that? But
So
that can
well,
also be
you'll
considered
get
a
your
cushion.
tests.
That could be a cushion, though, right?
Yeah, you'll get marks on your test and be like, okay, I think I'm a here,
Oh, okay.
Oh,
but you
I
gotta
see.
kind of wait
So
till
you
the
know
end.
if you pass or not.
Yeah, like your exam, you passed.
Oh my god.
Oh,
but,
okay.
but like things like
So you passed your exam.
yeah.
Okay.
But there'll be things like this Saturday. It's a presentation. Like you don't know how you're gonna do.
Every MBA type program I've ever heard anyone take, they have to stand up and do a presentation and have it videotaped and this and that.
It's so frustrating.
and they do terrible work. Have you ever considered just like having us come in and just like rock it, where it's just like we come in with our full strategy, our full creative, have Manny build motion graphics and stuff, and then we do the delivery and you stand up and you're just like, I just whipped this up, and then you throw it together, and we don't ever mention, or you don't ever mention that you work for a marketing firm.
We
Do you
get
know
like,
that would give like everyone like an aneurysm? They wouldn't be able to handle it.
we get like background to give you a standing
No.
ovation.
I would love to do that
Everything.
just as like not like a prank, but to me it feels like a prank. Like you videotape their
Yeah,
reaction,
yeah.
and people are clapping along to Sally who stood up who read something, and
Oh.
you just come in and just like
Yeah.
blow the doors off the place.
No, it's true. Like,
Michael
creativity
Scott
is
style.
like
You just walk in, do some crazy. Actually, you know what? Screw it.
Michael Scott style.
You're not even there, Kyle. We're gonna do it so good. It's a hologram of you.
Can we
giving-
Cisco
Oh my
live stream
gosh.
you in from Australia with one of those
That would be
live
fun.
one of
That'd be
those live
hilarious.
things?
have to be with my group.
When we used to make fun of MBAs, and then you decided you were going to get one around Christmas. After Christmas, you started. What are your thoughts about the program now?
Well, I can see what you're saying about the box thinking. They definitely give you like a toolkit. And
Focus mostly around finance and markets.
yeah, there's certain things they just tell you to look at, and then you're supposed to take your toolkit and like every problem or every company you come across, you just shove them into that. So that's the box thinking that I can see. People
Yeah.
saying that it's a bad thing.
You know what? I think that you got a couple more years left with the business stuff till the machines take over. And I'm serious. Like,
That was another one where
Those MBAs will figure out how to make those.
I'm like, what are you
machines-
talking about, Larry?
these are Louis' moments.
And we should have a sting for that.
Now, welcome to another Louise.
No, it's true though, because what's gonna happen is like, think about it. Like,
Foxconn.
yeah, like robots are way better at telling you like numbers and figures and measurements and all that stuff.
Oh, for trading, yeah.
For
They're already
trading,
faster than people.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, accounting, like there's a huge impact for all that stuff coming.
Yeah, someone still has to write the algorithm though.
And then it's going to become
Ain't gonna be-
self-aware.
But it ain't gonna be
until
the
you
guy-
write an algorithm to write algorithms.
It's going to happen.
But it'll be the
and then you can't
programmer that
control it.
does that.
Yeah. Oh man! But then everyone
Amazon
is
drones will
everyone
come
is
and
gonna
kill
have
you.
the same software. So how do you tell if everyone's getting the same advice? Like, is there a podcast on banking?
Oh, there is.
yeah,
That there
but they're
is.
so Planet Money is a
Yeah.
great podcast.
I love Planet
'cause
Money.
It's so interesting.
What is it? What is it? What are you?
So Planet Money's from NPR, and
Yeah.
it's basically an extension of This American Life, I guess, technically.
Yeah, it's
or
part of the
basically,
same network.
they started by doing little 4 or 5 minute segments for the news, and they would always be interesting story-based things. What they make an effort to do is they look at a given topic that usually has to do with money or the economy, but they break it down to the lowest common denominator. So, for example, they did this great series a few years ago where they were looking at, with H&M and these other retailers, these like low-cost shirts. Mm-hmm. They said,
Okay.
we want to make our own shirt, but we want to know where every single element of the shirt process comes from and goes.
Okay.
So they started like at a cotton field in Louisiana, and then they went to Indonesia or the Philippines.
Bangladesh?
No, I think it's Indonesia or the Philippines. Somewhere,
Oh.
basically, there's one country that takes the world's cotton, and they actually yarn it or whatever.
Oh,
They turn it
yeah.
into thread.
Okay.
And then it went from there to somewhere else, and they followed it through every single step. There was one this week where they were talking about South Africa has a partner, as a country next door that has a lot of water, and so they went and interviewed a farmer whose cattle has basically this country's hit drought. So they start with like the farmer, then you learn about the cows, then you learn about the geography, then you learn about water, then you realize that South Africa's stealing all the water, then you go back 30 years to the negotiations and the coup that led them to take all the water,
really?
and then you come back to the farmer and you find out what he's doing to overcome it. So it's like, I mean, it had to do with water negotiations in South Africa. Like how dull is that?
Supply and demand.
But they go to the source.
Yeah, they
and
make
then
it really interesting.
It's super interesting. It's
Yeah.
funny. It's casual. And it's cool. And
So like iTunes has that like new and noteworthy section.
yeah,
For
new and
podcasts.
notable.
Yeah, whatever it's called. Is that how you find out about them? Podcasts? Like how do you find out about podcasts?
Yeah, I mean, there is that way of figuring it out. But to get onto like a new and noteworthy, you have to be like the reason why Planet Money got on new and noteworthy was because like they were associated with NPR, so they had a built-in audience, coming from there. But like a podcast like ours, or like if a small company starts like just a podcast, it's almost impossible. You have
So
to do a
we
search.
can't get on that? No?
No, it's like you need a lot of you need like a surge of
I mean,
viewership.
if we suddenly found ourselves doing like 75, 100,000 subscribers,
Okay.
maybe even less. Those are just
Right.
numbers I'm throwing out there. But I think it's better to consider maybe trying to get on the top 10 of your given category. So you look at podcasting,
Right.
you look at
Yeah.
business
Right.
within business. Aim for like the top something.
So yeah, like if you're like going for like comedy category, it's almost impossible.
Yeah.
Because like the guys who there, but like let's say you go for like health and nutrition, you might be able to get in easier because there isn't as much competition.
Right.
Yeah, I listened to a podcast that is it's amazing. It's kind of roundtable-ish, and it's got segments and this and that, but it's has to do with pop culture within Christianity.
Right.
And it's run by
That's
a
specific.
magazine.
Yeah.
But so they don't, even though it's a comedy-based podcast, just like any comedy-based podcast, even though it has to do with pop culture, just like any pop culture,
Yeah.
they're listed within the religious category,
Yeah.
Right.
faith.
Yeah.
They're listed within faith,
Yeah.
and they're like always number 2 or 3 within faith.
That's
Because it's
smart.
like their competition's like Joel Osteen or some
Yeah,
kind
yeah.
of
That's smart.
like some kind of weird thing. But
Yeah.
it's not that they did that strategically. They've been running for so long that there didn't used to be categories. Like in
Right.
2005, they were
Right.
like the number 4 podcast. But again,
Whoa.
nobody was podcasting back
Right.
then. So, if you had 10,000 subscribers in 2005 on your podcast, you were like hot stuff.
Isn't it? I wonder if Apple knew what they were doing when they did this, because essentially all it is providing a single index place for a bunch of MP3 files for
That's
people
right.
to listen
Yeah.
to.
It's
Like,
not
I don't
even,
understand.
Not even MP3 files. It's basically an RSS feed.
Right.
So all it does is pull it off of someone else's server.
But somehow they took that idea and everyone just latched onto it.
Yeah.
And they're the only
I don't
ones
know, I
who
find it interesting.
who have done it successfully. Like I don't know if there's any other like app or anything like that is known for.
Or if
Well-
it is, they're copying what they
So
did.
NPR has the new the NPR One app,
Right.
which is really cool because I haven't I haven't downloaded, but as far as I'm aware, you download it, and then what it does is it serves you random content from NPR that you can choose to skip.
Oh.
And so it helps you, one, it introduces you to different NPR related content and shows.
Right.
Like it just pulls them.
Yeah.
But the reason why NPR did it was other than to control the channel, right? Like iTunes controls the channel.
Yeah.
Radio it's very, very hard to split test. It's very hard to get data. It's very hard to live in a
Right.
digital world when you're through radio.
Right.
So through the NPR One app, they're able to have an understanding of demographics. They're able to actually split test and serve content to different pools of people. They're able to, on a micro level, manage their content. And Planet Money did a whole podcast on split testing, which is funny to me because it's like split testing's been around for.
Yeah.
Gosh, I've
Since
probably
the internet.
2007. I think when Google through PPC through AdWords started talking about split testing landing pages,
Right.
maybe 2007, 2008, where it really started up. And then I think they did the split testing podcast 2 months ago. It's like 2016. But they split test the podcast, and then they looked at where the biggest retention rate drops off. But they were only able to do that through the NPR One app. So they could take 20,000 listeners and give them this, take 20,000 listeners and give them that, and then measure and test.
Right.
But other than getting that kind of data,
Right.
iTunes has all of that data.
They don't give it to you, do they?
No, they don't give that to you.
And you
But
can only get so much from the hosting provider.
yeah, you get
country?
you get hits,
You get
hits in
hits, yeah.
country.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
But you don't know if they listened, right? Like
No,
I don't know
yeah.
if iTunes is measuring retention.
I don't know.
I think
mean-
you get like downloads. That's all you get from Libsyn.
It's mass
That's
numbers.
so limited.
But it's but the download doesn't really tell you. You get hits.
Yeah,
right?
hit.
Like you get a hit. Like it's like if so. Like what I don't know from Libsyn is like if Manish is subscribed to us, and it's in his feed and it downloads, but he doesn't listen to it. It's still a hit.
Yeah.
Right,
It's
so
not like
like-
YouTube where you get like it's incredible how much data you get. Drop off rates, like how long they listen for, everything.
Yeah. But what's better than even that is Wistia, where it gives it to you on a user by user basis
Oh, that's
based on
cool.
IP.
That's
Yeah.
cool.
So
wow.
like if like you, I don't think YouTube will ever give you that, but like if we could pay for some kind of YouTube Pro type thing where we could find out on ones and twos.
Yeah, that would be
this
crazy.
is like a 15-year-old male who lives in Wisconsin who has watched this part of this video, and this is the traffic path that got them there and where they're going.
Doesn't
Oh,
Facebook give you that kind of stuff? I don't know.
Not in specific. No,
Not
no.
like that
Everything's
much detail.
everything's super.
So
bulk.
there's an opportunity here for someone to get into analytics for podcasts.
Well, no, but I mean, all of these people have it. That's what they want.
Oh,
They want the data, right?
Yeah. They won't
It's
give
just
it up.
giving you access to it. So,
So why don't they sell it? Like they should.
I
At
don't
least then
know.
it would be worth their while. to
well,
me.
they can
If you have a
use it-
network, I guess you could build up your. No, you wouldn't. Never mind.
they can retain that information. They know what they want to know, right? It's like
Yeah.
if you go to Google Analytics, every year they're pulling back data and sharing less and less with you.
Yeah. yeah.
So, although now they didn't have the new paid service, but big
Yeah,
data, another big keyword, eh?
yeah. Data.
Do you think what Marin does is smart? Like, I think he has a podcast, or sorry, an app you can buy.
That's only to access back
That's like
catalog.
premium content, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I think it's smart because he charges like what $10 a year, and he has like
It's a subscription.
yeah.
Oh,
and
wow.
He has like 1 million viewers on his podcast.
Yeah, Dan Savage was the first to really take the big plunge and a huge hit in his audience, right? Like so he did free stuff, and then he decided to do the subscription only content.
Oh,
But he
okay.
had a huge hit, so now he puts out 2 podcasts. He puts out like a short version with advertising, and then he puts out a longer version with full content without any advertising.
A lot of podcasts do that. Yeah, I listened to one podcast that actually does something very similar, where you'll listen to the podcast and then there'll be like a feature that will be exempted from that version that you will have access to if you have the paid subscription.
So here's the thing.
Would you
though,
pay
like,
for it though?
No,
I paid for podcasts.
Here's the thing though. So like if you do good enough work, like so let me think about the listener side. If I'm a listener, if these people do good enough work, one, they build up an audience, and then they can get advertisers and advertise to me.
Right.
right.
And if I like them enough, I won't skip the advertising. Or if they're strategic enough by not making them in 15-second intervals. Like the
Yeah.
dumbest thing you can do is make it 15 or 30 seconds because I
No.
can skip it.
Put them at the top or the bottom. That's my-
You can be
Just put 'em-
interruptive, but
yeah.
just make them
Or
22
make it a
seconds.
chunk.
Make them a really weird length, so you
Yeah.
can't skip them with your what is it?
With
your
15
plus
seconds.
plus 10 or plus 15.
Plus,
What is it?
yeah.
yeah.
They changed
But
it.
the one
It
I
used to be-
listen to, you never know when the ad's gonna be. And
Yeah.
it could be.
You're plus 15. So
Yeah.
and you make it. You if you do it right, okay. But the thing is, if I like the person enough, and they incorporate it in a smart way,
Right.
I'm not even going to skip it because it's like the Gary V, right? The punch, jab, 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 right hook.
Yeah.
Give, and then ask.
Right.
So Patreon is a great thing, right? Like you're all
Right.
familiar with Patreon.
Oh yeah.
It's a website account that you can set up where people can choose to support you on any increment from like $1 up per month.
Yes, I've heard of this.
And so, like-
GoFundMe sort of.
Oh, okay.
But GoFundMe is
it's a
project
donation.
specific.
yeah.
GoFundMe specific.
Yeah.
Patreon is a monthly support.
Yeah.
Right. That's
so
right.
I mentioned the Like a Girl thing.
Yeah.
She has a Patreon account. I haven't gone so far to say yes, I'll support her at this point, but she's doing amazing story content. She doesn't have any sponsors.
So she doesn't monetize this podcast, right?
No, she's trying to change the world.
Right.
She's trying to make sure that her
Right.
her daughter grows up in an environment where she won't commit suicide or be murdered. I mean,
Right.
Yeah.
like
This is in the States, right?
yeah.
Okay.
It's
Different
like if you
environment.
hear it's anyway, it's a tremendous story where if she came on the podcast and said, "Listen, guys, I need to do this for my daughter and it's going to cost X or Y, or I need to do this for legal fees, or I need to blah 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 blah,"
Yeah.
I'd step up. Right?
Yeah.
Because there's something more, and that's the great thing about podcasting. When you do it well, you're not advertising to people. You're building you're building a friendship almost.
That's
You're building
right,
a
yeah.
relationship with the people you listen to all the time.
Yeah.
More so than a radio host, more so than anything else. The only thing that maybe comes close is like a YouTuber.
Right.
Yeah, it's an intimate relationship.
I still think podcasting is more intimate than YouTube.
Oh, way more intimate. And the thing is, YouTube already has like a profit-making system in play.
Yeah.
You know, like like you just get views and you get paid. You know.
Yeah.
But like podcast doesn't have that yet, which is also another reason why there's a lot of stuff, but not always great stuff out there. Like,
It is a low barrier to entry.
yeah,
The cream does rise to the top.
exactly.
But it's like book selling, right? Like it's long-term known strategy. If you
Right.
want a New York Times bestseller, then you take your marketing budget and you buy your books back off yourself,
Yeah.
right? Like if you want to be on the New York Times bestseller within a week or two,
Yeah.
you set aside $100,000 and you buy your own books back, and then
Yeah.
suddenly you're there. And then once you're there, then you get press, and once
Yeah.
you get press, then you actually sell. Like
Yeah,
it's dirty. It's
Yeah.
like Kickstarter, where you seed your own account to begin with, or when you top up your account, right? Like you're 10% there. Oh, I really want the money, so I'm going to cover the last 10% to get the
Yeah.
money. These are all, or Kickstarter, where you start low and then you know that you don't have enough money, so you go back for second round of funding. Like these are all things that I'm not a huge fan of.
Right.
You can do it with
Oh,
People
podcasts.
do
Why-
that.
why are you
They
not a
game
fan
their
of it?
downloads.
Why am I not a fan of it? Because
Yeah.
you're playing a game, and it's
Yeah,
like
you're
your
playing-
motivations aren't right. Like what? Like how does
Are there
that
people
support a
that do
why?
that?
With what?
Like it can
Books?
game their downloads? No, I'm talking about podcasting.
You can buy
Yeah.
ad space.
Yeah, I mean, so
Like if you want to get your ranking up, I guess you could just pay for bots or something to give you ratings and stuff. But
no, it wouldn't even be that for podcasting. So how would you push a podcast?
Just
you
downloads?
Would no, I mean you would probably create excerpts or segments. You would take those excerpts and segments probably out of context. And then you would do like a true view campaign, or maybe to a landing page. You might hire community managers to build like fake followings through Reddit. You might start fake tweet wars with people.
perfect.
These are all better ideas than when researching for this podcast on the topic we're speaking of.
But
right
these
now.
are all dirty things that
So
I would not
afterwards, I'm gonna go
recommend.
start
I
fighting
know,
with
but they're
people.
all
Because
way
not
better.
real. It's not a real audience,
because the listener
No.
expectation, like if I go to Reddit, I know the Reddit community is sarcastic and dark and snarky, but I feel like it's vetted, right? Like so if
Yeah.
something is ranking, I know the lens that the Reddit community looks through, but
Yeah.
it's vetted through their lens.
Right.
So if you push fake stuff and then people go there,
They know it.
You're
Yeah.
not. But not only that, you're not living up to the brand promise.
Right.
Right. Like Ty Lopez. Right. Here I am in my car. I think that's the
Yeah.
name. Ty
In my
Lopez. Right?
garage.
Here I am in my garage. Knowledge. Whatever. Go to Reddit and ask about him. Right. Like the
Oh, yeah.
truth is there.
Yeah.
That yes, it's one thing to fabricate a version of yourself and then
Right.
push it out through. He has 500,000 YouTube followers,
Wow.
subscribers, but he has something like 100 million YouTube hits on his videos, but they're all bought. They're all purchased.
Right.
And there's something to his content because it's kind of magical. Magic fairy dust. Remember I say you can
Yeah.
make something go
Yeah.
viral?
Yeah.
But I don't think if you subscribe, I mean, if you go to Reddit, people talk about how hard it is to get out of his program. Once you're in the funnel,
Right.
how the terms, it's like leaving a gym. It's like
What?
impossible to get out of.
YouTube?
Ty Lopez.
Ty Lopez is like what he's
It's all,
selling.
he all
Oh,
wants, he
okay,
wants you to
okay,
put you
okay.
on a $67 a month subscription to his content.
Right.
It's very hard to get out of that.
But can't you just call your credit card company and block it and be like, no more payments to tylopez.com?
I don't know. I don't know. I'm just,
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm just saying that there's lots of dirty things you can do that won't help you in the long run, but it gives you the perception, right?
I think I'm trying to play a little bit of the devil's advocate here.
I hate it when you play the devil. What movie was that with Brad Pitt where there was like the devil?
Devil's Advocate.
Devil's Advocate.
Oh, is that the Devil's Advocate?
Tom
I just remember the line.
Literally,
isn't the line like when you dance with the
Tom
devil?
Cruise, what are you talking about?
No,
Isn't it
it's-
Brad Pitt and Tom Cruise?
No, isn't it like when you dance with the devil, you don't
It's
change the devil?
Keanu Reeves
The devil
and
dances
Al
you.
Pacino, right?
Was that the Devil's Advocate? Oh, yeah,
Yeah,
it was.
right?
There
I'm not
is one with
crazy
Brad
here?
Pitt about devils, but I can't remember what that one's called.
Oh, that's the Vampire Diaries.
Oh, yeah.
No, not the
yeah.
Vampire Diaries.
Interview with
dude.
a
Interview with the Vampire.
interview with the vampire.
Brad Pitt. Vampire Diaries.
Sorry. I'm not,
Welcome to the shit show.
Okay, this is.
Or are you talking about Batman, devil
No,
dancing in the
interview-
Oh my
moonlight?
the
goodness! No, there's a line when you dance with the devil. You don't change the devil changes you.
Oh, hooah!
yeah, I think that's Al Pacino.
Love it.
Yeah, that's good.
We should do a whole podcast on Al Pacino.
Like we should just do Al Pacino impressions.
What do you got?
What do you-
What do you got?
I don't know any of these references because I didn't grow up watching movies.
Dog Day Afternoon. Well, I'll watch it.
Oh, 8mm apparently, which was that's where that quote's from, which was that weird Nicolas
Nick
Cage
Cage?
movie, right?
Oh,
where
yeah.
there's like the
8?
underground snuff films.
Oh, I thought that was the Steven
Yeah,
Spielberg.
right. That's Cage in his element.
Not Cage. I need to pay my taxes
Here,
element.
It was autobiographical.
Max California said, "Pops, if you dance with the devil don't change. The devil changes you."
The devil changes you.
Was it Nick Cage that said that?
I don't know.
Oh man, that's like Oscar worthy, right?
I don't know, man. You can't trust the guy who like names his kids after like Superman.
Does he have kids?
characters. Yeah, he's got a couple, I think.
He has
Con Air.
He
Korean
has
wife.
a couple, I think.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I'm the biographer for Nick Cage.
He has a couple, I think.
Oh, back in
Okay.
the day.
Anything else?
I think, I think we should.
Go watch Con Air.
Are we done here?
Are we done
And
with Nicolas Cage?
What is it? Hashtag drone draw?
Hashtag
Well,
free
this
drones.
was successful.
Remember when we experimented with Leah with either giving a thumbs up or thumbs down for a given topic?
Yes, I remember that.
So how do we
once.
do for Manny with this topic? Manny, you brought the
We
topic.
spoke a lot on podcasting. I
I
don't
think
know.
thumbs up.
I think it needs to be like edited down.
I would like to know from the audience.
Like the Roman gladiator style, like thumbs
thumbs up or thumbs down?
This is 10 minutes.
Can we cut it like how Homer Simpson and Rock Bottom? Just sweet can.
Sweet can.
Yeah.
With the clock that keeps
Yeah.
moving. Guys, thanks so much for joining us today on this podcast. Kyle,
Thank you.
Louis,
Yeah.
and Manish, the guest producer for this episode. If you have any
I like so like for everyone listening, Mark just shot as he said that, shot him like the most like dagger stare.
Wait.
I guess you're producing.
Hey, I invited so many people to come, but everybody is like busy this week for some reason. Jeez.
I didn't even realize I did that. Anyway, if you have any comments, questions, feedback, topic suggestions, let us know. You can reach us Twitter at Phanta Media. You can email us feedback at notsocorporatepodcast.com. Or you can reach out to Manish directly, Manish at fantamedia.com.
No one
I'll
emailed me the
all,
other week.
I'll answer all your podcasts.
I got no emails when you called
that,
me out.
I
there.
guess that tells you what people think of you.
What the heck, guys?
Yeah. Anyway, guys, thanks so much for listening. We'll talk to you next week.
Wait,
We
what?
need to change our call to action. 'Cause it's not working.
That's the reason.